Children are a blessing. God teaches us that. They're filled with laughter, innocence, and joy. Their love is a gift that parents get to unwrap every single day. Parents in Uvalde had that gift taken away from them, stolen by a demented person. Days before yesterday, when these children were at school, some were receiving awards for perfect attendance. These kids will never attend school again. To say the least, Uvalde has been shaken to its core. Families are broken apart. Hearts are forever shattered. All Texans are grieving with the people of Uvalde, and people are rightfully angry about what has happened. Events like this, they tear at the fabric of a community. Our job is to ensure that the community is not going to be ripped apart. All Texans must come together and support the families who have been affected by this horrific tragedy. What they need now more than ever is our love. What they need is uplifting from all of our fellow Texans and all of our fellow Americans. And let me emphasize something that I know you all know. But the reality is, as horrible as what happened, it could have been worse. The reason it was not worse is because law enforcement officials did what they do. They showed amazing courage by running toward gunfire for the singular purpose of trying to save lives. And it is a fact that because of their quick response, getting on the scene, being able to respond to the gunman and eliminate the gunman, they were able to save lives. Unfortunately, not enough. But I want to make sure that everybody knows, all of the law enforcement agencies and groups that are involved and were involved in this process. The Texas Rangers are leading the investigation, and they are supported by the Texas Department of Public Safety Highway Patrol, the Texas Department of Public Safety Criminal Investigative Division, DPS Aircraft, DPS Intelligence Counter and Terrorism Division, DPS Crime and Victim Support. They're also supported by the Texas Division of Emergency Management, the FBI, as well as multiple federal partners, including the DEA, ATF, HSI, and Border Patrol. And then, of course, the valiant local officials, the Uvalde Sheriff's Department, Uvalde Police Department, Uvalde Independent School District Police, Uvalde County Constables, Uvalde Mayor, the County Judge, Uvalde District Attorney's Office, local public works and surrounding police department, and the San Antonio Police and Fire Department also. Let me walk you through some of the facts of what has happened. There's been a lot of things that have been said. Some are correct, some are incorrect. Let me tell you the best information that we have at this time, understanding, very importantly, that this is an ongoing investigation, and ongoing investigations often reveal new information as those investigations progress. The first thing that happened was that the gunman shot his grandmother in the face. She then contacted police. The gunman fled, and as he was fleeing, he had an accident just outside of the elementary school, and he ran into the school. Officers with the Consolidated Independent School District, they approached the gunman and engaged with the gunman at that time. The gunman then entered a back door and went down 2 short hallways and then into a classroom on the left-hand side. The gunman entered into that classroom, and the classroom was connected internally to another classroom. Border Patrol, Consolidated ISD officers, police, sheriffs, and DPS officers converged on that classroom, and a Border Patrol officer killed the gunman. As I said, Texas Rangers are leading the investigation, joined by federal, state, and local law enforcement officials. At this time, we know that 19 children have lost their lives. 2 faculty members lost their lives. In addition to that, there are 17 people who are injured, but their injuries are not life-threatening. All family members of all of these students and faculty members have been contacted and informed about the circumstances. The officials are working with parents to ensure that their parents are going to be able to see their children. Parents should contact victim services at the county fairplex. We know that there are parents still striving to make a connection. All parents are welcome and urged to contact victim services at the county fairplex. The gunman was 18 years old and reportedly a high school dropout. Reportedly, there has been no criminal history identified yet. He may have had a juvenile record, but that is yet to be determined. There was no known mental health history of the gunman. He used one weapon, which was an AR-15, using 223 rounds. There was no meaningful forewarning of this crime other than what I'm about to tell you. As of this time, the only information that was known in advance was posted by the gunman on Facebook approximately 30 minutes before reaching the school. The first post was to the point of, he said, "I'm going to shoot my grandmother." The second post was, "I shot my grandmother." The third post, maybe less than 15 minutes before arriving at the school, was, "I'm going to shoot an elementary school." I mentioned that during the shootout that took place at the school, in addition to the students and the faculty, there were 3 officers who were injured who were all remain in good condition. 1 deputy sheriff lost a daughter in that school. Before coming out here, we had a long discussion with law enforcement at all levels. We had a discussion with community leaders, elected officials. And I asked the sheriff and others an open-ended question and got the same answer from the sheriff as well as from the mayor of Uvalde. The question was, what is the problem here? And they were straightforward and emphatic. They said, we have a problem with mental health illness in this community. And then they elaborated on the magnitude of the mental health challenges that they are facing in the community and the need for more mental health support in this region. I want to make sure everybody understands the mental health services that are available at this time, with me making one clarifying point in advance that I'm going to redouble down in the aftermath. Whenever anything as shocking and extraordinary and disturbing as this event occurs, there is an urgent need for everybody affected to access mental health. I cannot be more emphatic than saying with great urgency, everybody in this community, I mean everybody, the victims, the families, family members, friends, the law enforcement involved, but the entire community is in utter shock about this. Some physical wounds that were sustained by the officers, they're going to heal in the coming days. The mental and emotional wounds are far harder to see and last far longer. The state of Texas, working with federal and local officials and agencies, we're going to be here for a long, long time. And one key point that we will focus on is making sure that everybody in this community has the access they need for as long as they need it to address with the mental and emotional health care needs that they have. I want to list various agencies and make sure these are made available to the public. The mental health services currently available are from victim services from across the area, from federal, state, and local levels, including the Family Resource Center at the Uvalde County Fairplex. Schools have crisis teams at the Uvalde Civic Center. They provide wraparound services for families who are affected. The Texas Child Mental Health Consortium, created by the state legislature in 2019, is available to assist. The Bluebonnet Children's Advocacy Center is available to provide services for children. The Texas Health and Human Services Commission is on site and will be available for ongoing provision of services. The Texas Education Agency is providing supplemental counseling services. The Texas Department of Public Safety Counseling is providing counseling services for law enforcement. And the FBI is also bringing in mental health services for law enforcement. It cannot be overemphasized the importance of law enforcement officers, all of them, seeking out and obtaining this mental health counseling. The District Attorney's Office for Victim Services has a phone number available for all victims, and candidly, the entire community, in a way, is a victim here. And I was provided their number to give out to you publicly. This is the number for the District Attorney's Office for Victim Services. The number is 830-278-2916. And at this time, I will pass the mic to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Governor Abbott, I have to say something.
Excuse me.
The time
Excuse me.
to have stopped this
Excuse me.
was after Santa Fe High School.
Sit down.
You're
Don't
out of
pull a
line
stunt.
and an embarrassment.
Was after El Paso.
Sit down and don't play this
Stop
stuff.
the next shooting in this right now, and you are doing nothing.
No,
You're offering
you
us
need to get
nothing.
his ass out of here.
You
This
said
isn't
this
the
is
place
not
to talk to
predictable.
consultants.
This is totally predictable when you choose
Sir, you're
not
out of
to
line.
do anything. to
Sir,
save the
you
kids
are out
in
of
the
line.
state. I'm standing
Sir,
up for the
you
kids
are
in
out
the
of line.
state
Please
to
leave
stop
this
this from
auditorium.
happening
So you
again.
can exit. You can exit. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
This is not the place to do that.
Check, check. Okay, we are up. Excuse me for the mic check. I just want to let you know that if you are listening in right now, it appears that we have a reporter. That's who it appears to be. I am not exactly sure who it is at this time. They have gone up. Oh, actually, that appears to be Beto O'Rourke. That's Beto O'Rourke. That's Beto O'Rourke. That is Beto O'Rourke. Hang on one second. Beto O'Rourke went up to the stage and actually asked Governor Greg Abbott how many more times we were going to see this. We are going to try to see if we can get a better shot of him. Excuse me. At first we thought that was a reporter, but I am now trying to get out of the auditorium. I'm trying to see if I can catch up with Beto O'Rourke, who we thought was originally a reporter. I'm going to see if my photojournalist can also. I think he's going to stay there for now. I'm going to see if I can get Beto. If you guys cannot hear me, please let me know. But again, Beto O'Rourke just going up to the stage. We were unaware that he was actually in attendance. I'm going to see if I can catch up with him.
There's no words that
Maybe the
anybody
mic-
shouting
it's a
from
little
here
off.
can do anything to heal those
He went to
broken
Santa Fe
hearts.
High School after kids were
We
killed
all,
in their classrooms.
every
Told the
Texan,
parents he would do something.
every
Nothing.
American
He came to my
has a
hometown of El Paso
responsibility
after 23 people
where
were slaughtered.
we need to focus
He said he was going
not
to do
on
something.
ourselves and
He
our
did nothing. In
agendas.
fact, the only
We need
thing
to
he
focus
did
on
was make it
healing
easier to
and hope
The only thing he did was
that
make
we
it
can
easier
provide
to carry
to
a
those
gun in
who
public.
have suffered
And he
unconscionable
no background,
damage to
no
their
training,
lives and loss of
no
life.
vetting whatsoever. You know,
We need
he
all
talked about
Texans
that this was
in this
evil.
one moment in time.
The only thing evil is what he continues to
Put
do
aside
to the
personal
people
agendas.
of this state. He
Think of
says
somebody
this
other
was
than
predictable.
ourselves.
It was totally
Think about the people who are hurt
This will continue to
and
happen.
help those
when
who
you
have been
continue to
hurt.
have a governor who will not stand up for the people of Texas. His only interest is the gun lobby. He's scheduled to speak at the NRA convention this Friday in Houston, Texas, just days after these kids were slaughtered here in Uvalde. They were slaughtered at Santa Fe High School, at Sutherland Springs, in Midland, Odessa, in El Paso, Texas. First mass shootings in U.S. history here in this state in the last 5 years. He was governor for every one of them. And after every one of these, he holds a press conference just like this. And I wish to hell, when he came to El Paso, someone would have stood up and held him to account and confronted him and shocked the conscience of this state into doing something, because if we do nothing, we will continue to see this year after year, school after school, kid after kid. This one is on all of us. It's on every single one of us to do something. So I'm here to stand up for the people of
He
Texas.
said
That's why I'm
mental
here.
health was broken here. He said
We are
mental health
50th.
only.
We are
He didn't mention
50th.
guns.
We are 50th in the nation in mental health care access. 50th. There are only 50 states in the nation. We are dead last. The number one provider of mental health care services under Greg Abbott in the state of Texas is the county jail system in the state of Texas. The largest inpatient mental health care facility in the state of Texas is the Harris County Jail in downtown Houston, Texas. He's refused to expand Medicaid, which would bring $10 billion a year, including mental health care access for people who need it. He's refused to champion red flag laws. When somebody says that they are having trouble, that they may kill somebody, they may kill themselves, a red flag law would protect the public. He's refused to support safe storage laws so young people cannot get their hands on their parents' guns. He's refused to support a ban on AR-15s and AK-47s. This 18-year-old who just turned 18 bought an AR-15 and took it into an elementary school and shot kids in the face and killed them. Why are we letting this happen in this country? Why is this happening in this state? Year after year, city after city. This is on all of us if we do not do something, and I am going to do something, and I'm not alone. The people of Texas are with us. The majority of the people of Texas are with us, but we've got to stand up to this, or we just accept this theater and business as usual, and we accept the next shooting. We could have stopped this. If we had stood up after Santa Fe High School, if we had stood up after El Paso, we are going to stop the next one. We're standing up right here in Uvalde, Texas right now. That's why I'm here. That's what the people of Texas want right now. That's what we're going to focus on.
There are parents and guardians. There are parents and guardians who are nervous about what can happen to other schools. They're worried about other schools.
Podemos hacer algo y necesitamos hacer todo lo que es posible para prevenir estas masacres que tenemos en cada comunidad. Sutherland Springs, Santa Fe High School en el condado acerca de Harris, en El Paso también. Tenemos el poder, pero necesitamos hacer algo en este momento. Si no hacemos algo, vamos a continuar con las masacres como la masacre que tuvimos aquí en Uvalde en esta semana aquí. Es algo muy triste, pero no aceptamos no es el futuro del Estado. Tenemos el poder cambiar el futuro. Por eso estoy aquí.
Pero parents of the victims have been talking to us saying they're scared for other schools. There are things going on social media.
We owe those parents our prayers, and I'm praying for them, and I've called them, and I've talked to them today. We owe them our help and our assistance. We'll do everything we can to raise the resources to make sure that we pay for funerals, for any needs that they may have. But we owe those parents action. I've talked to the parents in El Paso. I've talked to the parents in Santa Fe High School. I've talked to the parents in Midland, Odessa. They want us to do something right now. I want us to do something right now. We can do something right now. But if we continue to accept this, then it is on us. It's not just the governor's fault. It is on us. I'm not going to accept it. So I'm here. I'm calling attention to this, and I'm asking all Texans of good conscience, and I could care less whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent, to stand up right now for yourself, for your kids, for our families, and to stop the next shooting just like this one.
And what do you say to Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who says now is not the time?
An 18-year-old kid who doesn't have a driver's license can't buy a beer.
He should not have been able to buy an AR-15. Right there. Do you want a solution? Stop selling AR-15s in the state of Texas. You want a solution? Have universal background checks. We don't have them. You want a solution? Red flag laws or extreme risk protection orders, which stop a shooting before it happens. You want a solution? Safe storage laws. Those are 4 solutions that have been brought up by the people of Texas. Each one of those has broad bipartisan support right now. We could get that done if we had a governor who cared more about the people of Texas than he does his own political career or his fealty to the NRA. And if you need any proof of that, check the schedule for the NRA's convention this Friday right here in the state of Texas. 5 of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history right in this state on his watch. What does he do about it? He goes to the NRA convention to brag about how easy he has made it to purchase guns in this state and to carry them publicly without a background check, without any training or vetting whatsoever. It is absolutely wrong. In fact, it is insane. The governor talks about mental health. It is insane that we allow an 18-year-old to go in and buy an AR-15. What the hell did we think he was going to do with that? This one is on us.
And what do you say to Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who says now is not the time to make this political?
Now is the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Santa Fe High School was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after El Paso was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Midland, Odessa was the time to stop the next shooting. And in each case, we say this isn't the time. Now is the time, like literally right now. That's why I'm here. That's what we want as a state. That's what I want as a parent. I've got 3 kids who are in high school and middle school and elementary school. That's what they want. And I face their judgment and my conscience and ultimately my maker for what I do when I have the chance to change this. And I'm going to do everything in my power to change this. And I am not alone. The majority of Texas is with us on this right now. The majority of Texas is not reflected by that governor or those people around the table who talk about mental health care or say that this is pure evil or that it was absolutely unpredictable. This is predictable. It will happen, and it will continue to happen until we change course. We've got to change course.
What changed this time after all the other times you failed to make change? What has changed this time that makes you so certain?
You know, there are some, and I saw the line, I don't know who said it. They said, listen, the debate on responsible gun laws ended the day after Sandy Hook, the day after the Congress was unable to pass meaningful gun reform. I don't buy that. I think anything that is tough to do in this country is going to require sometimes years, sometimes decades, sometimes millions of us coming together. But we have the will. We are going to do this. I'm absolutely confident of it. Everyone is going to do all that they can with what they have, where they are. Right now, it is us here in Uvalde doing this right now. There are others across the state of Texas who are with us. I'm confident that we're going to overcome. I don't know when, and I don't know how, but I do know that we've got to do everything that we can with what we have. We have got to try.
Al gobernador acá ahora de hablar sobre el estado mental de la gente. Pero lo más frustrante para usted y el punto que quiere hacer usted esta tarde es que
Pues vamos a continuar con las masacres aquí en Texas si no cambiamos las leyes sobre las armas que tenemos aquí y también la oportunidad de ir a un doctor para su salud mental. Pero si no cambiamos, vamos a tener cada año, cada semana, cada día en este estado. La responsable es con nosotros y tenemos ser responsables a nuestros hijos y nietos porque va a continuar si no cambiamos.
Específicamente, ¿qué está pidiendo usted al gobernador esta tarde y por qué lo interrumpió?
Necesitamos cambiar las leyes del estado. Por ejemplo, necesitamos un background check, una revisión universal para cada persona que quiere comprar armas en este estado. Necesitamos red flag laws para que podamos parar un masacre antes que pasa. Necesitamos, como se dice, safe storage laws para que niños no pueden usar las armas de sus padres. Y necesitamos ofrecer más oportunidades, ir a un doctor. Somos el último estado en acceso de salud mental. We're 50th in access to mental health care. All of these things are within the power of the governor and the lieutenant governor and the speaker of the legislature that are up there right now. We can change this. Podemos cambiar. Tenemos el poder. Gracias.
What do you say to almost certain criticism from your opponents that you're trying to capitalize politically on the gun trade?
I'm trying to do something before it happens again. And as I said earlier, I wish somebody had stood up after Santa Fe, after Sutherland Springs, after El Paso, after Midland, Odessa. It's never the right time. It's never a good time. This is the only time that we are all focused on what just happened. It's the only time to call for the action that we need that's going to prevent this from happening again. And I know that there are a majority of us of good conscience and goodwill in the state of Texas, of all political parties, of all backgrounds, who want to do the right thing. And I'm just saying right now is the time to do the right thing.
Are you going to be meeting with family members, or have you already?
I have. I've been talking to family members. I'm going to be meeting with some family members. I've been talking with the county judge, the county commissioner, people within the community. As you know, this is a community I've been to, and it's a community that I want to continue to come back to. And I just want to do everything that I can right now. And in addition to offering our prayers and our support and our resources, we must lead and we must act.
You once said we're going to take your AR-15s. Are you ready to say that again today?
No one should have an AR-15. There is no reason, unless you are a soldier on a battlefield, because that is a weapon of war designed to take human life. That high impact, high velocity round shreds everything inside of your body once it makes impact. You are supposed to bleed out when you're shot, and that's exactly what happens. You don't need it for hunting, you don't need it for self-defense. So my position is the same. No one should have an AR-15 or an AK-47.
Okay, you're hearing from Beto O'Rourke. We are going to, yes, one of the families wants to meet. Yeah. For those of you who are still listening, and we are now walking with Beto O'Rourke. He is planning to meet with one of the families of those victims in that horrific shooting.
They want us to act. The families from
So we are still waiting for Beto O'Rourke to make it back to us right now, but
that we would do something after all that. 23 people killed on a Saturday before school started in August of 2019. Kids who watched their grandparents and
we're going to go back to Beto for the
a high school freshman who was killed right before the first day of school. The governor came, did the same damn thing in our community, and not only did nothing improve, he made it worse. He signed permitless carry. Law enforcement, police chiefs, sheriffs begged him not to. They said, listen, Governor, it's going to make our job deadlier. It's going to make it tougher for us to protect those that we were sworn to serve. He turned his back on law enforcement and did it anyhow. Texas leads the nation in the number of law enforcement who've been gunned down. We've seen a spike in gun violence, and though he said this was unpredictable, this is totally predictable given what the governor has done.
I'm from El Paso, that's actually my mom's Walmart. But I just want to ask, in your conversations with the families, are they saying, we don't care about politics for our, we have to protect our kids? What are they saying to you?
The families are in shock. The families are grieving. I talked to one father who said his wife was talking to a counselor while I was talking to him. They just lost their baby girl. And he doesn't know, I wouldn't know what to say. And I can only imagine, and we all hate to imagine that. And hopefully we never experience that. But we owe them something. We owe them something. We owe this country something. We owe our kids something. We owe the children in the next school where a gunman's going to walk in with an AR-15 unless we intervene and stop that. We owe them something. And that's why I'm here. It's on all of our conscience right now. It's on yours too. And I know as members of the press, maybe you can't say anything. You have got to be feeling this right now. And you've got to see that the road that we're on will lead to more of these shootings unless we change it. It's on us to change it.
You call this theater. Someone called this theater. What's your response to those calling this interrupting?
I call this change. I call this change.
Necessary because of change.
No, 1 second. Please, from ABC News,
I'm sorry. I'm going to go talk to his dad.
Okay, for those of you who are...
calling you a sick son of a bitch.
What do you call him?
A sick son of a bitch.
The only thing that is sick is to allow this to continue to happen day after day, year after year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
God bless you.
Yes.
Do you think this was the right time to do this? I mean, some people are calling it a publicity stunt.
If I didn't think it was right, I wouldn't be here. You tell me when the right time is to stand up to save kids in Texas. It's right now. It's every single day. And I'm going to do whatever I can, whatever it takes, to make sure that we prevent these kinds of massacres from continuing to happen.
This wasn't politics today?
This is about change. And the only way that we're going to change is to stop this from continuing to happen. This is going to continue to happen.
Beto, you go Texas. This is a wild, wild west mentality.
Thank you so much for what you did up there. I was the only one who had your back out there. I appreciate what you do. I appreciate what you did, what you stood up there and told them. I mean, I think it's a bunch of crap what's going on. I think it's a bunch of crap. I have about 5 or 6 friends that lost their kids yesterday, and it's devastating. My family's okay, but my community is screwed. And all there is pain in this town. I feel like there's a dark cloud above us, and it's just not going away. But I mean, they violated our constitutional rights up there by first, freedom of the press. They kicked us all out, all of us. They kicked us all out. Freedom of speech, they kicked that out. The freedom to put the right to petition your government, that right was violated. And the officer that escorted me out of the building failed to identify. That's company policy. That's government policy. You have to identify when your name and badge number is asked for from a citizen, as a public servant. They violated our rights. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is getting ridiculous. The governor just came and made a mockery of this town. That's all he did. He just came to laugh at us. That's all he did.
I'm so sorry for what you're going through, for what your community's going through.
We appreciate you.
I'm here for you. I'm going to stay here.
Thank you.
I'm going to make sure, Cynthia, if you don't mind sharing my cell phone number, I want you to reach out to me, call me, tell me how I help your family. Tell me how I help those families that you know that have lost somebody already. Nothing's too big, nothing's too small. We're here for you. All right, man. Thank you.
Beto, you can what can you do about it?
We'll catch up to you to do that.
Sorry.
We'll catch up to you.
Mr. Beto.
With you, okay?
Beto, you said it was insanity. You said Governor Abbott said that mental health is the issue, but he did not mention guns. You said that is the definition of insanity. Can you explain?
Yeah, for the... For the governor to say this is a mental health care issue and do nothing is
making me crazy. Thank you for making me COVID, people.
not to even bring up the gun laws that we have in Texas that members of law enforcement begged him not to pass because it makes it easier for people to carry guns in public, makes it easier for 18-year-olds to buy AR-15s, weapons originally designed for use on the battlefield. This is on the governor of the state of Texas.
Don't let her get in your bed.
You're saying this shooting is on the governor of the state of Texas.
And
You're
everyone
saying
until we make...
He is at fault here. He is to blame.
Absolutely. And every single one of these until we change. And he has the power to change.
Tell me substantive change. What do you mean? What needs to change specifically?
I'm talking about universal background checks. I'm talking about red flag laws or extreme risk protection orders. When someone is showing signs that they're going to harm themselves or harm somebody else, we need a way to intervene. I'm talking about banning the sale of AR-15s. This 18-year-old who just turned 18 was able to go in and buy a weapon originally designed for use on a battlefield and turn it around and kill elementary school kids in their classrooms, shooting them in the face. The governor has the power to lead that agenda and to make sure that we no longer have to worry about that in the state of Texas.
Warning signs, the fact that this kid was telling kids at school that he was going to kill them, posting pictures of himself harming animals, cutting himself. Should somebody have noticed that?
That's why some states with real leaders have adopted extreme risk protection orders. This is not an act of God. This is not pure insanity. This is not completely unpredictable. This doesn't have to be our fate. It is totally within our control, and more than anyone, it's within the hands of the governor of the state of Texas. And he has chosen time and time again the NRA and the gun lobby over the people and the children of Texas. And it was those kids yesterday who paid the price. It was my neighbors in El Paso in 2019 who paid the price. It was those the month later in Midland, Odessa who paid the price. The year before in Santa Fe High School and in Sutherland Springs who paid the price. We will continue to pay the price for his fealty to the NRA and his unwillingness to do what is necessary to save the lives of our fellow Texans. That's why we've got to stand up, and I'm standing up to be counted right now.
This Wild Wild West mentality has got to stop, right?
This has got to stop.
Okay, you have been hearing from Beto O'Rourke, who rushed the stage as Governor Greg Abbott had just finished his remarks. We are not sure if we're actually going to be allowed back into the auditorium, so we are staying with Beto right now.
I'm worried about the kids, and I'm worried about the families of those children. I'm worried about the next school shooting. I'm worried about this continuing to happen all the time, every year, day after day in the state of Texas until we change. It is the fact that an 18-year-old could walk in and buy a weapon designed for war and use something that is supposed to kill enemy soldiers on a battlefield against kids who were 7 and 8 and 9 years old. That's what I'm worried about. That's what we should be focused on. And those folks on that stage want to distract us with every manner of politics or theater or mental health or video games, or there's not enough prayer in school. These are all things I've heard those people on that stage talk about and attribute these kinds of acts of terror to. We just got to acknowledge that they actually have the power to change our laws, to improve them, where you can protect the Second Amendment and do a far better job of protecting the lives of the people in our community. That's what we need to be focused on.
Un mensaje en español para los padres. Un mensaje en español para los padres.
If you were governor, you said that you would have the power to do that and change these laws. Administratively, how do you go about doing that? How can Governor Abbott do that?
The governor literally sets the agenda for the state of Texas. The governor has extraordinary power to bring the members of the legislature, Republicans and Democrats alike, around his priorities. And right now his priorities are keeping women from making their own decisions about their own body. Right now his priorities are pursuing the parents of transgender kids. Right now his priority is allowing anyone to carry a firearm in public without a background check. Though law enforcement stopped 35,000 Texans from doing that over the last 5 years, deeming them too dangerous to carry a loaded gun in public, he's now allowing all of them. The question all of you need to ask him is, why does he want violent criminals to be able to carry guns on our streets? Go ask him that. He has not had to answer for any of this, and he gets by with this theater. I'm calling it out. I came here to call it out, to stop this, because if we don't stop it, it will continue to happen.
Beto, 10 years come out and you've said, thanks, we're going to head this way.
It's almost like
Okay, he is about to head out. So for those of you who are listening, that was Beto O'Rourke, gubernatorial candidate for Texas. He rushed the stage to be able to make a comment to Governor Greg Abbott seconds after the governor had just finished his remarks. Again, he went up to the stage. He did not go on the stage. He just went up to the stage, made some comments that we couldn't hear very well back in the back of the auditorium.
You said you want to prevent the future shooting.
But you see him, he's walking away right now. He is finishing up.
How do your presence here, how do you think that's going to perpetuate that?
I don't know what more I can add. I just shared all the things that we could do as a state, the power that the governor has to change this, the fact that most of us in Texas do not want to accept this and are willing to make the changes legislatively to ensure that we don't continue to see this. It's on the governor. I think your next round of questions are for him. Why won't he do something? I'm here. I'm doing something. I've told you what I would do as governor. What is he going to do?
What do you think about Chuck Schumer? Come out and said that we're going to take you. If you were elected, we want to take your guns. Now, how would you go about that?
I want to make sure that no one can ever do this to a child or a classroom again. So I think at a minimum, we should stop selling AR-15s and AK-47s.
Beto, there are
universal background checks. We should have red flag laws. We should have safe storage laws. These are things that most Texans, Democrat and Republican, will agree on. These are things that gun owners and non-gun owners alike will agree on. All that we're missing is the political will by those who are in leadership positions in the state to actually do something about it.
That's it. What do you think about Chuck Schumer not saying he won't take up any new guns?
Okay, for those of you who were just tuning in to our live stream, forgive me if we are not live anymore, but for our live stream, we were streaming the governor's press conference, but then at the very end, when Governor Greg Abbott was about to pass off the mic to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Beto O'Rourke actually went up to the stage, made some comments. You see him heading out. He's just getting in his car over here. The vehicle with his team. He answered questions for about, I'm going to guess we've been out here for about 15-20 minutes or so, maybe longer than that, but he answered a number of questions, including what needs to be done in his opinion after what he calls yet another horrific mass shooting. I'm not entirely sure, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure if Governor Greg Abbott's press conference is still ongoing. We had just finished hearing from him, so we're going to walk towards that way. I'm going to give you guys a quick recap again of what we know right now. I'm going to get in front of the camera, so just give me a second to catch up. Again, Governor Greg Abbott had just made mention of a lot of different things, including mental health, as for the reason as to why we potentially saw this happening again. You may recall 5 years ago this year, excuse me, sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I don't accidentally fall over. 5 years ago, Sutherland Springs. 2 years ago, coming up on 3 years, excuse me, that was in El Paso. Those were both shootings that Beto O'Rourke made mention to when he was just talking right now with the press. Again, he went up to the stage, caused quite a commotion before he was escorted outside. That's when we all went after him and we talked with him for 15-20 minutes or so. You probably heard his conversation. We're gonna head back this way. Again, at this point, I don't know if we will be allowed back into the auditorium. However, for all we know, the press conference could have wrapped up. They could have stopped it after that. I'm not entirely sure. Fernando, when you left, did you see if they were still going?
They were still going.
They were still going when my photojournalist left. He was about a few seconds behind me. He just had to get off the tripod. So it looks like we are all waiting out here now. We're gonna see if we can go just get our gear inside. So hang on with us real fast. But again, for those of you who are just joining us on our live stream, you might have been watching a little bit earlier when Governor Greg Abbott was speaking to the media about this horrific mass shooting that took place in Raw Elementary here in Uvalde. Excuse me, I'm losing my breath a little bit here. 19 children, 2 teachers, and the gunmen are dead. And after he finished his remarks, Beto O'Rourke went up to the stage, made some remarks of his own. He was escorted out after, came out here, answered questions for the media for about 15 to 20 minutes. And he was just taken away with his crew in a vehicle as well. They got into their vehicle and they left. We're gonna go see if we can get our gear. I'm not entirely sure if we can, so please stand by with us. It looks like there's a crowd at the door. So I'm going to guess that if there's a crowd at the door, that means the governor's press conference is effectively over. It looks like we are waiting to get our gear right now. Again, I don't know when we'll be able to go in. I don't know exactly what is going on in there, what might be said, but again, for those of you who might just be joining us, Beto O'Rourke went up to the stage just as Governor Greg Abbott finished his comments for this press conference that we were here for. We were here to listen to the governor, the lieutenant governor, several people, and Beto O'Rourke, right after the governor finished his remarks, went up to the stage. I want you guys to take a look inside the building real fast, or I want you to see what we see, which is a heavy official presence here. We cannot get inside, it looks like, to get our gear. I'm going to guess at this point that the press conference is effectively over. I don't believe we will get back inside and get more sound. It looks like we can't get in at this point to even get our gear, which is just our tripod. So we will continue to be going live right now for you. But for those of you who might be joining us, again, a very chaotic scene breaking out right after the governor finished his remarks. Hang on 1 second. We're going to see if these officials have something to tell us real fast. Stand by. I'm going to check and see if we can go get our gear. Sorry, ma'am, just quick. Do you have any idea if we'll be able to go in at all?
No, nobody's going back in.
Okay. For the gear we have in there? If we have gear in there, could someone bring it out?
Figure that out.
Okay. All right. All right. So if you guys are still listening, I'm not sure if you heard, it sounds like our gear is going to stay inside until further notice. So we will just continue to be going live right now. Hang on 1 second. We're going to see what they're saying over here. Okay. We went inside. All right, so hang tight with us real fast. There is gear inside, but at the same time, we are trying to figure out when exactly we will be able to go in it. David, Diana, I don't